how can we identify and understand our target audience? I think that's a really important one, because if you're somebody starting off, or even if you've had a business for a few years and it's been kind of sporadic and there's no consistency, understanding how you're targeting to the specific audience is key. That's, for me, that was ex-Army PSYOP. Like, that was our core, was understanding who we are trying to get the message to, and how are we going to get it to them, and why are they going to listen to us. And it's essentially, those can travel across marketing themes for the most part. It's how do you get in front of people, and how do you get in front of the right people?
Well, I think the first thing you have to define, if you're a brand new business, sometimes it can be a little bit harder, because you may go into it with a mindset of who your customer is, and then come to find out 6 months later, your actual customer is slightly different than who you thought it might be when you started. So if you've been in business for any period of time, though, the best source of knowing what your target looks like is, what do your past customers look like? I mean, what are the people that are already choosing to do business with you? What do they look like? And then take that, when we use, marketing terms like demographic or whatever, kind of what we're saying is, take an amalgamation, if you will, of all those people that have done business with you and say, okay, this is what my customer looks like. And then begin asking the question of, how do you put your product and or service in front of that group of people? Where are those people hanging out? If your average customer is between 40 and 60 and is a homeowner, they're probably hanging out on Facebook and Instagram online. And also they're probably doing Google searches when they have questions for things. If your target demo is 16 to 22, they may very well be hanging out on TikTok or even Snapchat or a variety of other different platforms that you may want to be hanging out there. So it's imperative that you understand, because if your target demo is skews younger, 20 years old, I don't know that spending time on Facebook is, a great use of your time. I mean, that demo is probably not hanging out there. So the very first thing I would say is understanding who your customer is, and then begin understanding where the customer that you're trying to reach is hanging out, what platforms do they use, things like that. And then go about creating a marketing program that's going to put your product and service in front of those people where they're already hanging out. In some markets, I mean, it may sound old school. I know this is about digital marketing, but in some markets that may even be running AM radio advertising. I mean, if that's where your target demo is hanging out, you've got to figure out where they're hanging out, what they're listening to, and you've got to put your ads and your product or service in front of them where they're already hanging out.
No, for sure. I'll end quick. I think this is encapsulate like the 80-20. Yeah, 20% of your customers are going to be 80% of your business, and trying to magnify that 20% and finding more people that are specifically that way, that are going to be returning customers and going to buy big purchases. And if those are the people that you want to bring in, take note of who they are, what kind of expenses they're doing, where they're living, and figure out if there's a way to kind of group them into not like a generalization or a stereotype, but kind of give an idea like, okay, this is the target that I should be looking for. I want more customers like this. And how are they all connected in some sort of way? And then maximize your efforts towards that.
Really quick, once you have a good dialogue, if you're collecting data with a CRM or a program like TintWiz or anything like that, and you're collecting people's email addresses, there's even ways you can use an email list to create what's called lookalike audiences. Now on both Google and on Meta, you can actually upload customer lists, and actually that customer list, they would identify the common traits of those people in their accounts, and actually you'd be able to utilize that as a way to reach more people that are like that. So if you are not doing it right now, not collecting email addresses of your customers, I would urge you to begin tomorrow collecting email addresses. It's an asset that you own. It's an asset that can be used in a variety of different ways. So by all means, if you're not collecting email addresses and keeping them in a way that they can be used in Excel file or something like that. If you're not using a CRM, at least something to keep those email addresses, you will find that they can be used in a lot of different ways to help you target your new customers by using your old customers' data.
Yeah.